My name is Ashimizo Afadameh, and I'm delighted to be here. Thank you, Ms. Jenkins, that's what I call her, Ms. Jenkins, for putting this together, yourself and your team. This is fantastic. She's been inviting me to this now for 2-3 years, and for some reason I always get to miss it. But this year, luckily, I was able to move things around, and I'm here. I know having, what's the word now? Following the footsteps of Papa Kwesi would be difficult because he's engaged us on a very interesting subject, and I'm about to bore you to talk about some things not so legal, but legal. Yeah. So I'll be speaking on the future of a borderless Africa. And I don't know if you have any idea what that means. Not an Africa whereby you don't actually have physical borders where we become one borderless continent, but an Africa where you still have your physical borders, but you move across those borders with ease from a trade, a service, and investment point of view. And I'll just give you a quick background. I know I have 10 minutes. So I believe ability to keep to time is a function of discipline. And if there's anything that we are lacking in our generation, it's discipline. So I try to practice what I preach. So my time starts counting now. So I'm going to look at the future of a borderless Africa from the perspective of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. I don't know how many of you have heard that. If you have not heard that in this room, if you've not heard that, then please go back after this session and read about it. And what is the African Continental Free Trade Agreement? It's an agreement whereby African leaders came together a couple of years ago and said, well, we have too many barriers to trade amongst us, the 53 nations. Well, it depends on how you count. Some will say 55. 53 nations in the continent. So how do we make things easier whereby we take out these barriers so that Africans can actually interact with each other from a trade and services and investment point of view in order to create a larger market? To put this in perspective, we are 1 billion people in Africa. That's our projected population. But individual countries, you have countries where you have 2 million people, 5 million people. But historically, we were not this fragmented before colonialism. So how do we now create a common market that can benefit our youth? So this started post-independence in the 60s, but finally, in 2018, we have been able to come up with the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. And basically, this agreement looks at 3 areas. One, the area of trading goods. So for everybody here who buys stuff online, who has a business, who has something to sell, there is a massive opportunity there. What it means is that if you tap into this network, you no longer have just the 30 million in Ghana that will be able to buy your goods. You now have a market of 1 billion people. If you're a recording artist like my brother, you are not just limited to the Ghanaian market. You have the entire African market that you can easily render your services in order to create more revenue. Also, as a recording artist, you would not only be able to protect your intellectual property rights here in Ghana. Once you register your song, your copyright for your song or for your lyrics, that would also be protected across the continent automatically without you doing anything. In the area of services, you are able to sit in Ghana, work from home effectively, and work for a company in South Africa and not worry about issues of taxes, how are you going to pay your personal income tax, and all of that. So that will be sorted easily. And if you're more adventurous, as a business person who has, maybe you have a small factory whereby you repackage shea butter or whatever it is, your local cosmetics that you do, you can easily tap into that market and start selling in Burkina Faso, Ivory Coast, Mauritius, Seychelles, and whatever it is that you think on the continent you want to tap into. So the question is, how do we tap into this network or this opportunity? Unfortunately, I have realized that a lot of African youths are not even aware of these opportunities. And this opportunity has been there now for over 5 years, and people are not talking about it. So I decided that that would be the best thing for me to talk about. And why is that so? We complain a lot about unemployment in Africa. The youth say, graduated, we don't have jobs. But at the end of the day, we find out that people from Europe and Asia are actually coming here to render services across the continent. So what is missing? What is missing is that we have failed to identify areas within the continent that we can actually tap into. If I ask any one of you, I'm sure if I do an opinion poll in this room, less than 50% of the people can name the capital cities of 20 African countries. Should we try? Let me not embarrass us. Let me not embarrass us. let me not embarrass us. And how much do we know about the continent? How much are we willing to even learn about the culture of other people that we call Africa? Same skin. You know more things about the US, you know more things about EU, you know more things about American actresses, there are people here now who can even describe the city of Paris to you. They've never been there, but they've watched TikTok videos of Paris and everything, or Europe, but you don't know anything about the continent. So the question is, as young people, what do we need to do as young people to think outside of the box, to enlarge our horizon in order to look for the opportunities that abound outside of our sphere of influence? And in Ghana, your sphere of influence would be Ghana. Some people, you've limited your sphere of influence to Accra. You've not even moved it to Kumasi, not to talk of crossing the border. So the first point I want to talk about is that it is very important as young people to start thinking from a continental point of view. Stop seeing yourself as Ghanaians. I don't think that's even just increasing. I know some of you see yourselves in the perspective Ashanti, or I'm from the Volta, or I'm from the North. But start thinking about yourself. Who am I? I am an African. What do I know about Africa? What do I know about the continent? What opportunities are out there? So you first of all interrogate and ask yourself, who are you? You know you're an African. Then you go on the next level and explore. Try to read about the continent. Try to think about opportunities that abound outside of Ghana. Try to think from a continental perspective. When you do that, you would identify opportunities out there. You would find opportunities, and you would learn to build competence around areas where you feel that there are gaps. A lot of people are here and they say they are unemployed, but you speak and write English very well. Do you know that in Burkina Faso you will get paid to teach English? But you're here, you're jobless. And you could do those classes online. You don't even need to travel to Burkina Faso. Do you know that in Ivory Coast, people will pay you to also learn to speak English? Do you know there are jobs that you can get within the continent here if you speak English and French? And you already know how to speak English and French, some of you. But what have you done with those opportunities? Then I will just quickly say, finally, don't be scared to take risk. Don't be scared to take risk at all. The biggest problem I have encountered as an employer of labor is that I find out that a lot of young people are just too scared to take risks. You come to the office, I give you an assignment. You literally want me to tell you how to do the job. Why? Because you don't want to make a mistake. If I wanted to do the job myself, why am I paying you? So is it with trying to venture outside your sphere of influence or comfort, which is Ghana. Don't be scared of even just getting on the bus and going to Togo. Have an adventurous mind. I tell people when I was 17, it was a long holiday in uni. Well, it was not a holiday, it was a strike. So we had these university strikes. And the thing was not ending. They say it will end tomorrow. It was not ending. Myself and my friends decided to get on a bus from Nigeria, and we came to Ghana, not knowing anyone. Like, no one. We didn't know anyone. We didn't have enough money. We had money that we knew that was going to take us on a bus, these overnight buses from Lagos to Accra. We had enough money to take us back. We didn't even have money for hotels and the rest. We didn't know. We just had little money. We had no idea what it cost to stay in Ghana. But we got on a bus and we came to Ghana. We had a good time for 5 days. And I had no idea then that I was going to come to live in Ghana. So when the opportunity came for me to come to Ghana, I was not scared. I know that town. I've been there. I was there when I was 17, and I didn't even have a dime then. So coming to hustle here is not a problem at all. So I came to Ghana. I was confident coming to Ghana later on in life because I'd been here at 17, just as an adventurous teenager, without money. Tell me you don't have money. Money is not an excuse because I think I was broker than most of you here. So, in essence, I'm here to encourage you that don't be scared. Don't limit yourself by the circumstances that you find yourself in, or you limit yourself to the environment where you are now. You are an era, what do you call this era? Is it Generation X or Gen Z? You're an era that lives on the internet. Use that in a purposeful manner. Learn about the continent and explore the opportunities that abound here. Every year, you see Black Americans, they are coming to Ghana, coming to Nigeria, moving back. Why do you think they are moving back? They see opportunities here. But you want to die and kill yourself to go there. So look for the opportunities here. Look for the opportunities outside of Ghana. Capitalize, go and read about the African Continental Free Trade area and learn to sell little commodities, things that you would find here. Learn to just, these days you have drop shipping and whatever it is. Look for clients outside of Ghana. Sell this thing to people and make just a little profit. Grow organically. Don't tell me you don't have money to start, but you all have iPhones. How did you afford that? So, I'm here to encourage you, believe in yourself, don't be scared to take risks, step out of your comfort zone, and there are 1,000,001 opportunities within the African continent that you can explore. And the good thing is that now there's a legal framework to back that up. Thank you.